sports note for late Thursday, May the 8th. We've got second round games in the NBA playoffs going on right now. At the time I'm recording this, just before 10 p.m. Eastern, the Minnesota Timberwolves are taking care of business against the Steph Curry-less Golden State Warriors. We actually saw the Oklahoma City Thunder extract revenge in a huge way after dropping game one uh, with a massive win in game two against the Denver Nuggets last night. But the two matchups in the East are certainly the most intriguing. We've got the two teams that have really been predestined to meet in the Eastern Conference Finals all season, down 2-0, getting swept on their home floors. The first would be the Boston Celtics blowing back-to-back 20-point leads in the second half to the New York Knicks, and the Knicks coming away with victories late in that game. But then the more important one for somebody like me as a Clevelander is watching the Indiana Pacers basically run the Cavaliers off the floor uh, in the second half in game one, and then the Cavaliers basically missing three key components, which we'll talk about here in a second, and get run out of the gym in the fourth quarter, being outscored 36-21, and blowing a 20-point lead of their own, where Indiana scored 8 points in the final 47 seconds, including a three-pointer by All-Star guard Tyrese Halliburton with 1.1 seconds, and now the Cavs are down 2-0 in that best of seven as the series shifts to Indiana tomorrow night for Game Three. The difference is that the Celtics are more than capable of coming back 2-0 against the Knicks. Um, the Knicks have actually shown that they have the ability to come back, but the Celtics can't figure out why they fell behind. The Cavaliers, yes, they do have the injury bug. The injury bug has hit them at the absolute worst time, but they still have a stud in Donovan Mitchell. They still have an all-star caliber player in Jared Allen. They were the deepest team in the league. They won 64 games, which was second best in all of basketball. They had the number one seed in the Eastern Conference. What's their excuse for blowing a 20-point lead last night? Um, Outside of the fact of recently named NBA head coach of the year for the 2024-25 season, Kenny Atkinson, got pantsed on national television. Uh, the fact that he saw the lead slipping away and continued to ride um, guys the way that he did. Donovan Mitchell goes for 48. I have no argument against what Donovan Mitchell did last night. Um, Isaac Okoro really did nothing. Max Strus, uh, not that bad of a night. Sam Merrill had himself a good night. Um, Ty Jerome was absolutely atrocious. Ty Jerome played over 30 minutes and was 1 of 14 from the floor, and only had 2 points last night. If he gets any one of those other shots to fall, the Cavaliers have this series at 1-1 uh, with everybody that they were missing. So the Cavaliers were missing all-star point guard Darius Garland, who's missed his fourth playoff game in a row with a sprained, I don't know what you call it, the index toe on one of his feet. The reports are that he did participate in a shoot around, but it was not really a full fledged practice on Thursday, and he's questionable for Game Five tomorrow night. Um, the big thing with Garland is that he's doing some cardio, but it's a lot of zero gravity or zero impact. And they're saying he can't really cut, which is the key to his game. Even getting out there and playing north south and not being able to cut all that well would have actually benefited to be able to draw some double teams, freed up some other guys here. Uh, you know, um, Maybe be able to get the ball in the paint a little bit more by ball handling out on the perimeter a little bit. Um, they also were missing recently named Defensive Player of the Year Evan Mobley, who let's also be honest, as great of a player as Evan Mobley is, the only reason he won the Defensive Player of the Year, not finished second, was because of the injury the deep vein thrombosis to his shoulder that Victor Wembanyama had right around February 18th, 19th, somewhere in there, which is causing him to miss the entire rest of the season. And he was not eligible for any kind of postseason awards because he didn't hit the 65 game threshold. And Mobley sprained his foot actually landing on a Pacer player, uh, coming down from a rebound. And there's no timetable for his return. He's also questionable. They also lost DeAndre Hunter in game one after he dislocated his the thumb on his right hand, which is his shooting hand, um, hitting the floor after a block shot and coming down with the ball. Now they pop the thumb back in, but the tendons are sprains. So you figure they're probably going to tape that up and see what, if anything, he can be able to do. I mean, if you're the Cavaliers right now, you're hoping that you get it. You're hoping that you can actually sweep all three of these games. Um, in the middle of this series, it's not likely to happen. Let's start calling this what this is. This is the final sand starting to trickle out of the hourglass on a Cleveland, a very very disappointing way to a very very promising season. Remember, the Cavaliers had two double-digit win streaks this year. They had a winning streak of 12, and they also had a franchise record 15-game winning streak. And that's how they started the year was by going 15-0. They had the best record in the NBA for a very good chunk of the season. It was them and Oklahoma City back and forth, the whole season. They were up by as many as 11 games on the Celtics in the regular season. And then the All Star game comes around and they get a little cushy, and Atkinson starts experimenting with the lineup a lot more than he should have. He gives guys off. Um, he does try to treat load management here, but he's trying to figure out what matchups could work. Calling guys up from the G League, and the Cavaliers struggled pretty well, really in the final 6 weeks of the regular season. They actually had, I want to say it was like a 5 game losing streak. They lost their last two to Indiana to end the regular season. Granted, they had basically benched everybody but Jared Allen, who wanted to play in all 82 games. So in the finale, he played 1 minute and then basically sat the rest of the night. Um, you know, had had a little bit of a test in the first two games against Miami in the opening round, and then basically put their foot on Miami's throat to the tune of a nearly 60-point win in the clinching game four, um, and really came out flat in game one against Indiana, regardless of because they were completely healthy at that point, and Indiana held the lead, at halftime, and then just continued to build on it. The Cavaliers actually made it a game, and then early in the fourth quarter, and Indiana just showed their mettle, and be able to not only get the lead but also push it. And then the Cavs had an 11-point lead at the break back on Tuesday in game two at Rocket Arena, and just it all seemed to fall apart starting at the midway point of the third quarter, and it was chipping away, and you could just actually tell that that's where this is going when you're missing that much firepower. Um, but Jerome just basically throwing anything up there and hoping something goes, and it didn't. Dean Wade played 30 minutes in relief, kind of being thrust in after Mobley couldn't go. Um, Jared Allen's probably got to be dealing with some bruised ribs after taking a hard fall in game one, where he landed flat on his back. And remember, Allen missed the entire second round series against Boston last year with a cracked rib. Um, so just something about Jared Allen and his ribs once we get to the second round of the playoffs, just doesn't make for a very very strong combination here. The problem I actually have right now is with Garland. This is kind of suck it up and play through it season. Um, and to miss 4 games in a row, yeah, you could get away with that in in the two games in Miami in the opening round, considering you knew that you had, especially the clincher where you definitely didn't need him. But if things go the other way, it still turns into a best of three, and two of those three are in your house. Now the fact is you've got to win 4 out of 5 against Indiana, and three of them are in Indiana's building. Um, and the Cavs in their last 7 matchups dating back to the end of last season are they're 2-5 against the Pacers. Now, again, granted, two of those losses were, uh, the last two games of the regular season, but also you got the two losses here in the first two games of this series. And this is something where Indiana, not to detract anything from them, the Cavs are beat up right now, and there's not going to be enough time left for them to be able to get them back healthy. If all three of these guys are able to play, if they can steal game three miraculously, which I don't see happening, all bets are off, for game four if they actually get these three guys to come back at any level of productive because right now any of these guys at 50% is better than some of the crap that they threw out on the floor last night. Um, Even though the officiating was very, very suspect, where the NBA came out with their post-game report about the officiating and indicated that they had missed uh, at least two different lane violations, if not three, and a 3 second violation. Now, the 3 second violation would have been against Donovan Mitchell, but two of the three lane violations would have gone against the Pacers in the final 10 seconds, including Halliburton committing a lane violation on an intentional miss that turned into him hitting the game winning three with 1.1 seconds. So that should have actually been waved off, and uh, you know it should have been Cleveland's ball with about 1.1 seconds. Now here's where I say Atkinson got pantsed and out coached is. At that point, why do you actually not start playing the foul game when you've got plenty of fouls to give, and knowing that it's just going to be a free throw contest back and forth, make Indiana run some clock here. Um, get your shots at the line. Mitchell was very, very good from the line. Jerome, even though he was only 1 of 14 from the floor, is still a very good free throw shooter. So you get him to pour in a couple of points. You put the ball in his hand, and make Indiana play the foul game. Um, and then just with the inability for the Cavs to get the ball in, which was also their Achilles heel against Boston in that series last year, especially down the stretch. Um, Something's got to change here, and I don't see it happening in a regular fashion. So it was by the time I go on the air with my co-host Mike Martinez, uh, you know, Sunday night for the Wise Guy Sports Show. This series could eventually be over in an Indiana sweep, and how apropos would it be for the Pacers that uh, the their opponent in the Eastern Conference Finals that they were in last year would either be Boston, who swept them out of the Eastern Conference Finals last year, or they get a rematch against the Knicks, who they beat in 7 thrilling games um, in the second round last year. So let me know what you guys think. Are the Cavs done? Um, Between the Cavs and Boston, who's more likely to get back in this series? We know that I think it's certainly Boston because of their star power, even though Cleveland has more depth. But the problem is Cleveland's depth is going to get very, very thin. If any of these guys between Hunter, Mobley, and Garland are not able to come back in any legitimate capacity, even if they just suit up and play 10 minutes and they don't really contribute to where they were in the regular season. I will be back with you guys very, very soon. Wise Guys on Sunday night, abbreviated show for Mother's Day. I'm on vacation from work next week, so I'll probably be able to pump out a couple of episodes. And everybody take care.